When you hear the word silver, what comes to mind? Probably jewelry, right? Maybe some old coins or that fancy silverware you never use. But it's just scratching the surface. In this explainer, we're going to look past all that shine to understand the powerful, unseen engine that's really driving the value of this critical metal. So if it's not just about rings and necklaces, what actually moves the needle on the price of silver? The answer is pretty fascinating. It lies right at this meeting point, this intersection of cutting-edge technology and big-picture global economics. So here's our game plan. We'll start by getting beyond that traditional image and explore silver's two very different worlds of demand. Then we'll see how it's become a green and tech engine. We'll break down the actual price equation, figure out why its price can swing so much, and finally take a look at its absolutely critical role in our future. Okay, so first things first, let's challenge that old perception. Yeah, silver has been used for decoration for centuries, no doubt about it. But its modern story, it's way more complex and, frankly, way more important to our daily lives than most of us probably realize. The real key to understanding silver is to recognize that its value is in this constant tug of war. It's being pulled in two completely different directions by two really powerful forces: its use in industry versus its role as an investment. So on one side, you've got its industrial use. This is silver, the workhorse, It's absolutely essential for technology, for green energy, and for our electronics because it's an incredible conductor. But then, on the other side, you've got investors. They buy silver as a financial asset, a way to store value, a hedge against inflation, or just a safe haven when things in the economy get a little shaky. And this visual right here really shows you the balance of power. Industrial applications, they make up the lion's share of silver demand. Now, investment is still a significant piece of the puzzle, but it's this heavy, constant industrial need that forms the bedrock of silver's value here in the 21st century. And that brings us to maybe the most dynamic part of the whole story: silver's indispensable role in the industries that are literally shaping our future. It all comes down to one fundamental property from science class: electrical conductivity. It's really just a measure of how well a material can carry an electric current. And when it comes to conductivity, well, silver is in a class of its own. And that's not an exaggeration. Of all the elements we know of, silver is the single most efficient conductor of electricity. Period. This one fact is the reason it has become so completely irreplaceable in our modern world. So, where do we actually see this in action? Well, think about the device you're watching this on right now. Silver is in the electronics. It's a critical component in every solar panel, turning sunlight into energy. It's inside electric vehicles, in batteries, and even in sophisticated medical equipment. It's everywhere. This chart here really illustrates a key trend. As the whole world pushes toward electrification and renewable energy, the demand for silver in those sectors just keeps on growing. Every new solar farm that gets built, every new EV that rolls off the line, it all increases the structural demand for this metal. So with this powerful, growing demand in mind, let's look at how that all translates into the price we see on the market. Let's dig in to the price equation. It's a classic supply and demand story, but with a twist. You have industrial and green demand rising pretty consistently. Then, during times of economic worry, investment demand also kicks in. But here's the catch. Both of these are pushing against a supply that is surprisingly limited. The natural result? Upward pressure on the price. And this point about supply is crucial. Economists would call it inelastic, which is just a fancy way of saying supply can't easily increase to meet demand. And why is that? Because most of the world's silver doesn't come from dedicated silver mines. It's a byproduct, pulled out of the ground when miners are going after other metals like copper and zinc. So even if silver prices were to skyrocket, miners can't just flip a switch and produce more. Of course, it's not just about the physical metal. Broader financial conditions play a huge role too. The strength of the US dollar, what interest rates are doing, and just the general market sentiment, all of that can influence silver's price, adding another layer to the equation. So this combination of factors leads to a very well-known characteristic of the silver market: volatility. Its price tends to swing more dramatically than other assets. And understanding why that is, well, it's key to understanding silver itself. It's a really common observation in the markets. If you compare silver to its more famous cousin, gold, its price movements can often be much sharper. And that's true for both the ups and the downs. A primary reason for this is just market size.
The entire silver market is significantly smaller than the gold market. Think of it like a small boat in the ocean versus a giant tanker. The same wave, say a large buy or sell order, is going to rock that small boat much, much more dramatically.
So, to sum it up, that smaller market size is one big driver, but its heavy dependence on industrial demand is the other. When the global economy is booming, demand surges and prices can rise fast. But during a slowdown, that industrial demand can fall off, causing prices to drop just as quickly. Silver's price is just very sensitive to these economic cycles. So let's pull all of this together now and look at the big picture. When we step back, we see a metal with a truly unique and absolutely critical place in our modern economy. The core takeaway here is that silver isn't just one thing. It's a technological metal, an energy metal, and a financial metal, all at the same time. It sits right at the crossroads of some of the most powerful trends shaping our world today. This quote really says it all. The global megatrends of decarbonization and technological advancement, they aren't just passing fads. They are structural shifts that fundamentally rely on the unique properties of silver. Its importance isn't just stable, it's actively growing. And that leaves us with a final thought. We know silver is critical for today's technology, but as our world continues to change and innovate, what new, currently unimagined roles will this unique metal play in the decades to come?